Okay, we are now in the airport of Timisoara. We arrived here last night to Timisoara, and today we were supposed to get a car until Moldova, but apparently you cannot rent cars that cross the border. So we had to cancel 2 cars actually, and finally we had to book a flight to Bucharest. And then tonight we're going to Bucharest, and from there we are hoping to take a night bus until Chisinau, but this is Romania, anything can happen. We are now boarding the plane from Timisoara until Bucharest, where we are hoping to catch the night bus. Unfortunately, in the end we were unable to catch the night bus because the plane got delayed a little bit. So we had to improvise once again. We found a flight the next morning from Bucharest until Jassy, which is right next to the border. And then once we get there, we will find a way, or we will try to figure out how we can cross the border into Moldova. Once we arrived in Jassy, we spoke with a local man who told us that the best way was to go by a car until one of the cross points. You can only access Moldova from a sort of bridge. We will try to cross by foot or try to find a way to finally enter Moldova. So now we are going to go through that bridge because it's the only way to cross to Moldova. So it's it's a train railway. So we went to the bridge that connected Moldova with Romania, and we were not allowed to cross it. And we had to take a bus back to Jassy, which is where we arrived this morning. And now we're taking the bus to another frontier between Romania and Moldova, and there we will have to go walking or hitchhike or something. But yeah, 2 days later we're still not there. 2 days later we finally succeed and reach Moldovan territory. In the end we had to hitchhike and get in a bus for us to be able to cross the border because they don't let you go walking. And now we are on our way to meet our friends Philemon and Jeremy on the other side and continue our adventure into Transnistria. Now, before we dive in the streets of Tiraspol, we must first try to understand what Transnistria is and why is it important in today's world. In order to do that, we must consider its historical background, its peculiar political status, and its relation with Russia. Transnistria is what is politically referred as a breakaway state. That is, a territory whose sovereignty is not recognized by the international community, even though it meets the 3 main requirements to be considered as such. That is, territory, population, and an autonomous government. Indeed, Transnistria has its own currency, its own national anthem, flag, and of course, president. However, Transnistria isn't by all means the only breakaway state. Many others exist, such as Artsakh inside Azerbaijan, Abkhazia and South Ossetia in Georgia, and the Donetsk People's Republic, as well as the Luhansk People's Republic in Ukraine. All these territories I have just mentioned have one thing in common: the support of Russia. Indeed, Putin has more than once hinted that he considers the dismemberment of the Soviet Union as one of the major geopolitical catastrophes of the 20th century. Therefore, he seems to believe that Russia is entitled to have some sort of claim over all former Soviet Union territories, either by annexionating them to the Russian Federation, such as the case of Crimea, or by maintaining a great influence over them. So, how did Transnistria come to be? Well, within Moldova, it seems that for a very long time, its population has been constituted mainly by 2 factions, its difference being mainly ethnic and linguistic. Indeed, while the vast majority could be classified as Romanian-speaking Moldovans, at least 10% of its population is constituted of Russian-speaking citizens of Slavic origin. In addition to these cultural differences, there is also a geographical division that forms some sort of frontier between these two sectors, situating the pro-Russian faction in the east bank of the Dniester River. In the decade of the 1990s and following the fall of the Soviet Union, as the new independent Republic of Moldova came to be, a growing fear of a complete Romanization emerged amongst the Russophile members of the country. This tension quickly escalated into a civil war that began in March of 1992 after the Republic of Moldova officially became a member of the United Nations. With the eastern side of the Dniester River being supported by Russian military forces, this conflict didn't have a definitive outcome, but instead a ceasefire was agreed on July of that same year of 1992. To this day, Russian troops still remain in the Transnistrian territory under the pretext of ensuring the peace. It has been estimated that there are currently between 1,500 and 2,500 Russian soldiers deployed in the territory, and more than 20,000 tons of Russian weapons and ammunition. However, in 2013, the Supreme Council of Transnistria approved the use of Russian legislation throughout the territory, carrying out a process of eliminating any legal provision contradictory to the Russian law. Its ultimate goal seems to be to incorporate the Republic of Transnistria into the Russian Federation. However, it is unlikely that the Kremlin will take such a measure, since it doesn't seem to be in its own geopolitical interest. In fact, Transnistria's sovereignty has not been recognized by any official state, including, of course, Russia. How does this benefit Russia? Well, because the moment Transnistria becomes, by all effects, independent, being by the creation of a new state or by its incorporation into the Russian Federation, the country of Moldova is, in a way, free to join, for instance, NATO, and that is something that the Kremlin wants to avoid. However, as long as Transnistria is formally a Moldovan territory, if it were to join NATO under its principle of collective defense, which states that an attack against one ally is considered an attack against all allies, some measures would be taken against these illegal troops occupying the Moldovan territory. That would mean some kind of direct confrontation against Russian military forces that officially are there only to maintain the peace. And a confrontation with Russia, direct confrontation with Russia, is something that everybody wants to avoid. This means that as long as Transnistria is officially part of the Republic of Moldova, it would not be in anybody's interest that Moldova joins NATO. Now that we have a better understanding of Transnistria, please join us in this journey that seems like traveling 50 years back in time into the Soviet Union.
We have traveled 50 years back in time. This is communist era.
We call our country Pridnistrovie, not Transnistria.
How do you say Pridnistrovia?
Pridnistrovie.
Pridnistrovie.
Yeah.
Okay, Pridnistrovie.
Because our in World War.
Yes, yes.
When this when in this country was a Romanian army.
Yes, yes.
They called this area is Transnistria, and now
Okay, so it's not what-
we don't like it.
You don't like Transnistria?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know, yeah.
In this building, our people is married.
Okay. Do you feel like you're Russian? or that you're like from, how did you say you call Transnistria?
Pridnistrovie.
Transnistria, or both, or
Um, it's a cocktail. Some
a little bit of both.
yeah. Moldavian, Russian, some Ukrainian.
Yeah, okay, like a mix.
It's all in me.
Okay. And so far it's very nice. It's cold as well, but it's very interesting. People are very kind, very nice. So yeah, here. Look at that old car in front of you.
Oh yeah.
It's all very unique. It's like really traveling back in time. It's an amazing place. I don't think you can see this any other place, not even in Russia now. Yeah. So even though this is like Soviet Union mentality, they have, let's say, opened their minds to capitalism countries. There we can see New York with the Statue of Liberty. And we have also seen like pictures of Uncle Sam, like I want you. We don't know if that is a critic or that is a good thing, but they seem to be open-minded. So it's a Soviet open-minded country region. Yeah. So yes, if you want to travel to other countries, what do you use? Because many countries.
If I want to travel to another countries, I use my Ukrainian or Moldavian passport. That helps me to go abroad because our system passport we can use just in Transnistria or maybe traveling to Moldova.
I have heard, let's say, from people from Moldova or whatever, that Transnistria was invaded or occupied by Russian army, but the truth is that most of the people that actually live in Transnistria, they don't want to be part of Moldova. Is that true?
Yes, it's true.
Yeah.
30 years ago, there was a war between Transnistria and Moldova, and the war was ended because of help of Russia.
Yeah.
So now the majority of previous generation
Yes.
prefer to be supported by Russia.
Yes.
But the teenagers and the last generation prefers to be the part of Moldova.
Oh, really?
Yes, because they think that in Moldova there are more abilities for them, there are more working places.
Yes.
And Russia, how they said, that
Yes.
Russia could not provide here a good future for our young generation.
Of course. Why does Russia not recognize Transnistria as a country?
I think that one of questions is a political question,
Yeah.
but also there are problems with the fact that we have no common borders with Russia.
Okay.
This-
Common border, yeah.
It's also a main problem. But Russia supports us just with political
Yes.
shelter, maybe, and providing us free or not so high paid gas,
Yes.
and giving some opportunities for Russian generation. For example, when we finish our universities
Yes.
and graduate from university, our diplomas can be used also in Russia. So they
Okay.
they are equal the Russian diplomas. But in Moldova, it will be a problem for us
Yeah.
to work with the diplomas.
And one last question.
Of course.
Like 30 years later, after the war, Russian troops are still here. Why are they here if it's not longer a conflict zone, let's say?
They just protect in case
Yes.
our territories, and when there are some conflicts, not so huge conflicts, but some political conflicts on the territory of Transnistria.
Yes.
Russian military forces support us and just give a little bit protection just in case of war. So we are maybe feel more confident now than it will be without our military.
So Transnistrian citizens don't feel like they are occupied by Russian army.
No.
They are actually happy to...
Yes, they're happy that Russia here.
Okay.
We think that it's the best.
Okay.
We went here.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
I live here. I live in Tiraspol. It's the capital of Transnistria.
Yes. So, do you think that it's important that people should travel to Transnistria and see your culture or your lifestyle? Do you think that more people should come here?
Yeah, I think that is very interesting for European people, and it's important for us when people come in Transnistria, because we have a mix of culture.
Yes.
It's Ukrainian, Moldavian, Gagauzien, Bulgarian, and Deutsch.
So it's
very,
a unique culture, really.
Yeah. На самом деле, получается, часть стереотипов о нашей стране, они верны. То есть есть проблема низких зарплат, есть проблема, что многие люди хотят отсюда уехать, это присутствует. Но при этом здесь при желании можно жить комфортно, путешествовать, посещать другие страны. То есть зависит, конечно, от каждого человека. То есть, в зависимости от того, кто-то живет здесь, получает маленькую зарплату и жалуется на жизнь. Кто-то здесь умудряется заниматься чем-то интересным, находить свое дело и жить счастливо.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
What does it feel like? What is the real identity of, let's say, a Transnistrian person? And why are they different to Moldova, or why are they different to Russian? Like, what is the authentic?
В чем проявляется наша идентичность, в отличие от Молдовы? В чем мы чувствуем себя вот именно что мы приднестровцы, а не молдаване, допустим?
Особенность Приднестровья в том, что здесь проживает очень много национальностей: украинцы, молдаване, русские, болгары, гагаузы, евреи. Порядка 70 национальностей здесь живет. Мне кажется, ни в одном государстве мира на такой маленькой, тем более, территории не проживает так много национальностей. И в чем характерная особенность, что мы не ссоримся, мы все мирно, дружно сосуществуем. И мне кажется, в этом прелесть и особенность Приднестровья.
First of all, what does she consider? Like, the most important is, does she consider it true that this could be understood as a, let's say, a Soviet paradise or a communist region where communism is still defended and accepted? And
Я родилась, когда уже был капитализм, мне неведом коммунизм, и не вижу ничего общего у Приднестровья с коммунизмом. Это современное развивающееся государство. Что насчет рая, то здесь действительно здорово. Предлагаю вам пожить недельку-другой, особенно приезжайте осенью, когда здесь завались фруктами, можно завалиться фруктами, овощами. В плане продуктов это идеальное место для того, чтобы растить здесь детей. Здесь дают хорошее образование. В общем, чтобы понять, как здесь хорошо, предлагаю пожить с нами, недельки-две так точно.
like, if it was up to you, you would never leave Transnistria. You love Transnistria.
Да, конечно. Мне нравится Приднестровье, я здесь родилась, живу уже больше 30 лет, хоть по мне не скажешь. В общем, мне все нравится, да.
Does she remember the war, the civil war?
Ты еще помнишь гражданскую войну?
Нет, я была совсем маленькой.
Has her parents explained anything about it to her?
Я журналист, я знаю об этой войне.
Anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you
for your collaboration.
I recommend you to visit Transnistria. It is a really peaceful and unique country because here there are so much nationalities. three spoken languages, and the expectations of Transnistria are totally different from the real expressions when you're here. So I think that it is a really must-have visited place. You will surprised to see here some interesting and open people, some unique Soviet monuments, and to try local cuisine that is similar Ukrainian, Russian, Moldavian food. It's I recommend you to visit it just one time in your life.
Okay, so the people we have been with this morning seem incredibly nice, but we got the feeling somehow that nothing was spontaneous, that it was all in a way staged. Maybe not, but the people from the cafeteria, they knew we were coming, they knew we were going to ask for it, so maybe it was just a nice thing, maybe it was, we don't know, but yeah. So it's very weird because you can see really old cars, like that one over there, next to really new cars, so it's like they don't make it, there no middle ground, no middle ground here.
This country, it's a quiet country, and everybody can live even with a little salary.
That's good.
Because here it's, we can say, to wear clothes. It's not expensive like shop like mine. This, for example, his price is $15. Comparing to what's in Europe,
Yeah.
it's a good fabric,
Yes.
and life here is, it's like a small city, понимаешь, or big village.
Okay.
Yes, and I am myself not from here. I am not born here. I am from another country. I come here 20 years ago, and I like it. I get married. I have a daughter, and I live here.
And
Very
you
nice. I like it because it's quiet city. I lived before in a big city.
So
For
you,
me, I'm an old man.
and
I
you-
need quiet.
You feel like now you are a transition in
Yeah, of
transmission
course,
and
of
in
course,
identity.
Of course.
How would you define the transmission identity? Like, what does it mean?
Well, really, it's nothing, because here half people Russian, another half Moldova,
Yes,
and they don't give them
but I mean,
quiet life to live.
I mean more like beliefs, or let's say like not so much as what the passport says, but what does it mean? Like a transnation person is a person who loves, I don't know, freedom, or who loves.
They like, everybody here like freedom, and they don't complain, even with a small salary.
Yes.
They don't complain. Of course, young people, they are traveling to get bigger money
Yes.
and this, but for the most of the people, it's quiet here. They like it.
What's incredible is that this is good quality. It's not plastic. It's not, and it's very cheap here. So what this man says is true. It is true that what you find here in other countries, you would find it really expensive because it's real authentic. The quality here, you don't, and that's nice actually. Like for example, this is a real. It's not like polyester or fake, like what they use in many clothes. You can see how they know what cold is like, because in Spain we are not used to cold, and we have no idea, let's say, about what is good, what is bad, and when we go to the countries like this, it's like, well, now I understand why it needs to be 100% real wool and not polyester or something else. It's good. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
How do you say goodbye in Russian?
До свидания.
До свидания.
До свидания.
До свидания. До свидания.
Спасибо.
Пожалуйста.
So I now have a scarf to keep me warm,
Yeah.
which is good. Let's go. Well, this bus has probably been here since the time of Stalin. It remains here. ¿Y qué tal? ¿Qué te está pareciendo por ahora Transnistria?
Pues la verdad es que bastante curioso porque ya tenía un poco la idea de que era como venir un poco a la pequeña Unión Soviética.
Sí.
Y según entras por la puerta, por así decirlo, la ves, lo único que te saluda es Lenin, por lo tanto no hay lugar a duda.
Banderas rusas por todos lados.
Sí, no, y además, evidentemente una cosa que ya no se da por supuesta, pero no sucede, y es que no hablan inglés en ningún sitio.
Ya, eso es
Entonces, para poder pedir una hamburguesa aquí hemos sufrido, hemos necesitado el Google Translate prácticamente desde que hemos puesto un pie aquí. Nosotros trabajamos ahí justo, vamos, en la sección del Real Madrid, por lo tanto viajamos con ellos a donde van, y la verdad es que yo es el sitio más llamativo con el que he estado viajando con el Real Madrid.
Sí.
Porque hace poco estuvimos en Kiev,
Ya, sí.
y es otra película, o sea,
Ya.
no es una ciudad moderna, y esto es como viajar 30 años en la máquina del tiempo.
Tal cual.
Me han dicho que
Surrealista.
solo Sebastopol
Sí,
es lo más parecido que te puedes encontrar ya a Tiraspol.
sí, sí.
O sea, creo que quedan esos dos vestigios nada más, por así, de la Unión Soviética.
Exacto.
Y de hecho, vamos, yo, masoca de mí, me pedí este viaje específicamente.
Ya, sí, sí.
Sí, porque en Milán y en Kiev, que eran los otros partidos, ya había estado un montón de veces.
Carlos, the journalist, also explained to us the problems he had with the currency, because any payment inside of Transnistria needs to be done with rubles, which you cannot withdraw from a normal bank. So what you have to do is you have to go outside the border into Moldova, withdraw Moldovan lei, and then exchange it inside of Transnistria.
So in Transnistria, like many Eastern countries, they are mainly Orthodox, and in the Orthodox religion they have a lot of veneration to the Virgin Mary. So there are lots and lots and lots of beautiful icons, and this is like the typical design, let's say, of an Orthodox church. Orthodox religion, in artistic terms, is very known for the beauty of its icons. They like a lot golden. To get around, as you can see there is an image of Jesus Christ surrounded by golden, and as you can see, it's not a painting per se. It's like, I don't know how to say, they put like little golden pieces. That is very Orthodox. This is the typical contradiction that you see in these places, because There, the doors have communist signs, and during communism, all sort of religion was prohibited, and still they went back to the once the Soviet Union fell. Some things have remained, but they have gone back to their beliefs in Orthodox religion, which is another contradiction in a way.
The Bender Fortress, which is near to the border with Moldova, is currently in renovation, funded by the European Union.
Okay, we're a little bit scared. There's like this crazy man from the movie coming towards us.
English? English? Ruska. Only? Russian only?
At first, I was afraid to approach the man because he looked a little bit menacing. But then I realized that if he is crazy or if he doesn't necessarily have to be a bad person, and I approach him with caution. But I'm glad I did because he was actually very nice. And yeah, it's very common here that people speak only Russian, and that makes it difficult because we don't speak Russian. Maybe we should learn, but it's very difficult to learn. We only know how to say привет, спасибо, да, нет, пока. That's it. I am a police officer of the Soviet Union. It's very hard to button this. It's like they have a bullet vest or something. It's real. Привет. Да. Нет. Нет. Спасибо. Пока.
After rekindling the flame of communism in this restaurant, we went to a monument on the main avenue of Tiraspol, dedicated to the War of Independence with Moldova.
So when you get into Transnistria, one of the first things you see is this tank that was used during the independence war of Transnistria, where the Russian army helped and they won.
The war in Transnistria took place after the end of the Soviet Union, from the 2nd of November in 1990 until the 21st of July 1992. This conflict involved Transnistria and the new Russian Federation on one side, and Moldova with the support of Romania on the other side. Between 1,000 and 1,900 victims were killed in this war. Half of them were civilians. After leaving Transnistria on our way back to Romania, we stopped in Chisinau in order to get the opinion and the point of view of Moldovan citizens about Transnistria.
We have recently been in Transnistria, which we know is a very complicated region in terms of politics, because theoretically it's part of Moldova, but the Russian troops are there, and even though it's not part of Russia either. And what is your opinion as a Moldovan citizen of this?
It's fucked up.
Okay.
It's totally fucked up. I'm not a big political expert or something, but it's like from my kind of view. Most of the people, just Russians came, put their army. That's it. It's our country. People want to be with us. What the fuck?
They didn't ask the people. They just said people want to be.
All my friends who were living in Transnistria are not there anymore. They all left for the better life.
So the Russians spoke in the name of the people and said they want to be with us, but
And we say just thank God there is no war like in Crimea, for example, where people are killed and dead.
Yeah.
And, already good.
Yeah. So you think that it's like because the Russian troops there, or the official version is that they are there to keep the peace, but many people call them invaders in a way, and that they are what they're doing is like an occupation. Would you agree with the second opinion more than the?
It's a 100% occupation.
Why would a person from Transnistria stay in this situation? I mean, what does he or she personally gain? He's just more limited unless he's Soviet fan.
That's domination. That's
Yeah.
totally domination.
Yeah.
Here in Moldova, in Chisinau, were lots of underground theaters.
Yeah.
They were mostly in Spălătorie, now it's closed. And they were showing all these problems which are happening, like not only there, also in Ukraine,
Yes.
what Russians do. But it was every time somewhere underground, and people could see like the real face of all this situation. And it's once again, I'm not a big politic, but all this is really sad.
Yeah.
I see it as a domination, as you have no right to say a word. You want to grow your children there and be there.
Yeah.
And
that the Russians do it for their own purposes, not because the people want the Russians, what they say.
Yeah, big people, big games.
And so now we are heading back to Romania with an incredible experience on our backs and with some sort of consciousness of the role Transnistria might play in the near future on the configuration of Europe. Thank you for joining us in this trip. We hope you enjoyed as much as we did.
Goodbye, Lenny.